Hi, I'm Dr. Phil, your authority for health and wellness solutions, and welcome to the Live Long and Strong Journal. Now, if you tuned in last week, we talked about some major problems as far as electrosmog and the lack of movement in life and what it's doing to our bodies, our biology. So hopefully for those of you that did tune in, you haven't been sitting on the edge of your seat since last week waiting in vain. So what I want to talk about today is a solution to that issue. The antidote, as we talked about. And the antidote is what's called magnetic resonance stimulation. So if we go back to that aspect of the importance of the Earth's magnetic field that we don't seem to be receiving anymore, what we need to look at is the fact that the human body, in order to produce energy, needs help from the outside. And that's the Earth's magnetic field. Without it, no life is possible. And the magnetic field of the Earth is elemental to all biological life. Now, this was shown back in the early 60s, around 1961. For anyone that was around at that point, you may remember the cosmonauts being sent up into outer space. Guys like Yuri Gagarin, which became quite the big news at that point. And basically what happened is those cosmonauts did a lap around the planet in the stratosphere, which took about an hour and 48 minutes. So these lads left strapping, healthy, vibrant people. And when they came back, within an hour and 48 minutes of being into the stratosphere, they came back and they were just a mess. Biologically, they had osteoporotic changes. They had no energy. They were just like mush. They were like jello. And we couldn't explain this for the longest time at the fact that gravity was taken into account, any radiation was taken into account. And what they really learned from that whole experience, unfortunately for the cosmonauts at that time, was the fact that what they entered into once they got out of the ionosphere, which is, prior to getting out into the stratosphere, out of our planet, when we enter into the stratosphere, we go from the Earth's magnetic field to what's called the zero magnetic field now. And when we get into a zero magnetic field, biology ceases to exist. Our bodies stop metabolizing. And we could see within an hour and 48 minutes, a lot of things happened that were very detrimental to life for our biology. So from that time on, space programs have utilized magnetic resonance stimulation, the pulsating electromagnetic field created by it within the spacesuits, within the spacecraft. And it's something that's NASA picked up on to send their gentlemen up to space in the 60s after that. And at this point today, every spacecraft, every spacesuit is equipped with that magnetic resonance stimulation. What I want to look at today as far as solution is taking that space technology and looking at the products that have been developed back on the planet Earth here. So in doing a lot of research over the last year, certainly come to notice that there's one product that stands out above all others in the aspect of pulsating electromagnetic field therapy, due to the fact that it has some major differences in the triple sawtooth wave patterns that it develops for all different frequencies of our biology within a very short amount of time. And it takes into account the biological clock of our body, the diurnal rhythms and the different frequencies that are produced throughout the day. No other products out there do this. So what I'm talking about is the MRS 2000, the magnetic resonance stimulation. And very simple device. All we have to do is lay down, breathe, and receive. I don't know anybody that can't do that. Do you? So in looking at the solution, one of the key elements that we want to look at is how the magnetic resonance stimulation works. And it's quite simple in creating that very low frequency within the biological window of about 5 to 15 hertz. What happens is it helps to create increased energy within the cells. So if you think of all 75 trillion cells in our body that are operating at different frequencies, the MRS 2000 acts like a radio dial, tuning in all the different receivers to get that resonance frequency going. And it only takes about 8 minutes to happen. And once the cells are resonating at their resonant frequencies, it's kind of like a swing. Once it swings, you can't swing it any faster. You can swing it higher as far as the intensity, but that frequency resonates at that same frequency throughout. Same thing, once we get the cells resonating, what happens is we're going to increase the energy within the cell through what's called things like cyclic AMP in the nucleus of the cell. And what that will do is help to increase the uptake of ATP, or adenosine triphosphate. And that increase of ATP, which is the elemental source of energy in the cell, gets to the cell membrane to to increase the cell membrane potential. And the higher the cell membrane potential, the greater supply of oxygen in, nutrients in, water in and out, and of course waste products out of the cell. So again, the cell membrane, there's a reason why the cell membrane is the brain of the cell, because without it, the cell can't survive. Because that cell membrane and the energy created on the cell membrane is what allows everything in and out. And that is the underlying aspect of cell metabolism. So you need all the elements to come together. You need the oxygen, you need the water, you need the nutrients, you need the removal of waste products. So this is where I'm very excited to share the aspect of what I've learned with the magnetic resonance stimulation, the MRS 2000. And I'm hoping that, in years to come, this is something that can be introduced into every household, because we absolutely need this. We are becoming more chronically ill than ever before, and it's not something we can see, feel, or hear. It's kind of like an orchestra playing without the conductor. Everything just starts to fall apart. So it's not a direct effect, but it's an underlying root cause. And right now we spend a lot of time chasing symptoms when we're not looking at answering the question of what's the underlying root cause of a lot of disease and illness in the chronic state that we're in. So this is something that I'm going to keep building on, and I hope that you keep tuning in, because this is really awesome information that I want to share. So until next week, I'm Dr. Phil, your authority for health and wellness solutions. Live long and strong, and check us out online or at the clinic at Back to Basics Wellness Consultants, or online at backtobasics.ca, where health, trust, and results happen.